I'm Danny Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Larry Patterson, who is the city manager for the City of San Mateo. Larry, welcome back.
Thank you.
I love our conversations. There's always so much happening in San Mateo.
There is.
So what's hot?
If there was a single topic that's hot today, it's traffic.
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 Every city manager, everyone's talking about traffic up and down the peninsula.
That's correct.
Who are we?
Yeah.
And where'd they all come from?
Exactly. And why don't they go home?
Why don't they go home sometime? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, downtown streets, city streets, there's no sort of back roads anymore.
No, in fact, the back roads are being used by freeway traffic as part of the problem. So if you track it on an afternoon or a morning, so the afternoon is, I think, more obvious to people that the traffic will come off of 92 or off of 101 and use local streets to get from point A to point B. And now there are actually apps for your handheld device that tell you how to get and it may only save you a few seconds, but it heads you out into the neighborhoods or out onto the local streets. And that's a significant change from what we've ever seen before. Right.
So I imagine you're getting these calls from residents, as would be. And so what are some of the measures and steps that City San Mateo is looking at and trying to figure out?
Yes, we do get the calls, and I don't think we go to a neighborhood meeting without it being a topic. So we actually embarked on what I think is a one-of-a-kind effort, larger than what I've ever seen before by any other Bay Area city, and that was to go to every one of our neighborhoods and ask them what the concerns were and what the issues were in their neighborhood. And then we compiled a list of all of those and are working our way through finding solutions to the degree we can. Right. So we have, I think, 26 neighborhoods, so it was a significant effort. I think other cities have looked at individual neighborhoods, but this is the first effort.
So any themes that are kind of coming across? Is it slowing down traffic? Is it abiding by traffic laws, meaning stop signs not rolling through them? Speeding through neighborhoods, any themes that have sort of come out from all of them?
All of those.
All of those, okay.
So it really ends up being some that are really more public works oriented. For example, sight distance at an intersection. So they're asking for red curb to be marked to move cars back away so you can better see oncoming traffic. Right. Speeding is always an issue, and so they're asking for enforcement, increased enforcement from the police department. Right. So it's those sorts of things. Some are bigger. There are other larger issues. There's one neighborhood, for example, recommended a traffic signal where one doesn't currently exist. Right. And the challenge in these types of efforts, and the reasons why this is such a big thing that we've embarked on, is that the neighborhoods sometimes don't even agree about what they really want to have done.
So some people want the speed bumps that to slow traffic. Some don't want that, because then I live next to a speed bump on Edgewood Road, and so when people either bottom out or when they speed to go over them, you know, all sorts of other kinds of things happen with. Yes. So there's never, as what I'm hearing you say, there's never just 100% consensus about how to solve the issue either.
So what we did was that we took all of the things that the neighborhood had mentioned as concerns, then we've taken them back to a steering committee of the neighborhood and ask them to prioritize them. So what we started off trying to do is get the kind of the top 10 things that would make a difference for them, and have focused on those. In addition to those things that are relatively easy to do, we can do enforcement. We can paint curbs. We can install stop signs where they're warranted. So there are a number of things that we can do fairly quickly to start to address some of these issues.
And so those are sort of the systemic, real things that happen. But then there's a whole host of what is the overarching cause of traffic, right? So you can talk about the jobs, housing imbalance. You can talk about so many of the larger pictures, grade separations, for example, the idea that people have to stop a lot more for transportation, large buses, trains, et cetera. So what are sort of some of the bigger picture items that you're looking at that then may feed into these that become these neighborhood boiling issues where traffic is congesting the neighborhoods?
I think probably the single largest and probably project with the most impact will be the grade separation project.
Okay.
And we've had a project at 25th Avenue to grade separate what is now an at-grade crossing. And it's a safety issue. It's number 8 on the California Public Utilities Commission's list of high priority crossings. So we're looking at grade separating that crossing, and in the process we'll raise the tracks, and those elevated tracks allow us to connect streets that currently don't don't connect across the tracks. So 28th and 31st would be connected and would provide access for not only just the Bay Meadows project, but also a parallel to Hillsdale Boulevard, which has been probably our most congested arterial street in San Mateo. So the grade separation project has not just the safety issue, but it also has the opportunity to create new connections within San Mateo.
Right, and lessen some of this congestion.
Yes.
Is there ever, studies that say when you do grade separations, what that means with regard to less time at a stop sign, stop light, or at that grade separation when the train is coming? So it can reduce, is it significant in reducing travel time, or is it something that just allows traffic to move so that you don't have these congested areas then ancillary around the problem, because you keep backing cars up?
Right. The biggest impact of an at-grade crossing is when the arms come down and the street's actually closed for a period of time to let the train pass. And that, when you think about it, as Caltrain improves its service, as potentially high-speed rail comes on, then suddenly you're having more train crossings in a given hour. That means that traffic's being stopped more often. And you can see that impact not just at 25th, but at any of that grade crossings, and especially in our downtown area. So it's the savings of that time where a street actually closes to let the train go through that is one of the big advantages of these grade separation crossings, in addition to the safety improvement, because now you're not having a car and a train at the same level when they cross, and that creates a significant safety problem.
And at the same time, congestion happens, right? So trains are more frequent at business and work times, and that's when people are in their cars as well. So it's like these two worlds collide.
Well, we hope they don't collide.
Well, true. That's true. Bad use of words, Danny Gasparini. Uncollide, get the grade separation.
But I think the other thing that we don't think about initially is that these crossings also will benefit pedestrians and bicycles.
Good point.
So we've been planning the Bay Meadows project and the other projects in that rail corridor for 2 decades.
Right.
And the part of that was to allow the neighborhood to be walkable, and then for you to be able to walk from the neighborhood to key destinations. And you think about the changes that the Hillsdale Shopping Center is embarking on, where there'll be entertainment and restaurants and other activities in addition to shopping. And you have Bay Meadows right across the tracks. This idea of having a path that you could walk between the neighborhood and Hillsdale Shopping Center is significant. And I think the other thing for the shopping center certainly is that now they have a second access directly from the freeway into the shopping center at 31st. So
I think lots of communities are looking for alternative, meaning bike and pedestrian walkways, walk to work, grocery store. Same thing with biking. Yeah, we've embarked on some companions. I don't think anyone would say that there's a single solution to the problem. We have affordable housing in the East Bay and jobs in the West Bay and bridges that cross the bay, and so it is a natural traffic bottleneck that's causing the problems regionally. But then we look at what can we do locally, and we've got a bike share program that was implemented where you can enroll and have access to a bicycle that you don't have to own. Our program is unique in that you don't have to park it at a special location. You can park it at any bicycle rack and then return it to its original location or some other location. So we have about 400, I think almost 420 participants in that program. So it makes bicycles more available to people for lunch hour trips or even for their commute to the train station, for example. Right.
We have car share. We did our pedestrian master plan, so we're looking at major pedestrian improvements throughout the city to try to make walking a better alternative. And when you go down to our downtown, I think you can see the difference. Right. I remember having an office in the downtown and the streets being deserted, and now there are pedestrians and bicycles and families that are actually walking or bicycling in the downtown area. So, well, Larry, I appreciate you coming on the program and sort of giving us this perspective that it is really a multi-pronged approach, both from a local standpoint and then regionally for you as a city in a whole. And there's a whole host of housing issues that you're going to be tackling that impact
traffic, and then all of the smaller things like traffic slowing and congestion management and grade separation. So. And I appreciate the fact that you've brought to us all of your community conversations, that you're actually meeting with the neighbors and having those meaningful conversations. So something that I think the rest of our communities can model. So thank you for bringing that to us. And I look forward to hearing some of the results from the conversations as well.
I hope you'll experience it firsthand as you're traveling through San Mateo.
As I'm coming through San Mateo. Absolutely. Thanks, Larry. And we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.